Hey everyone, tonight I'm going to tell you a true crime story, softly, gently, so you can drift away while your mind wanders down a dark, winding street. It's about a girl who vanished after her midnight walk, an innocent stroll beneath a sleepy sky that swallowed her whole. Before you get cozy, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, drop your city and what time it is where you are. I love knowing where you're listening from. Now turn off the lights, switch on a fan for that soft hum in the background, and let's begin tonight's journey together. You slip on your sneakers at exactly 11:47 p.m. because insomnia has bullied you again tonight, and walking feels less pathetic than scrolling mindlessly until sunrise. Outside, the street is quieter than your heartbeat. The porch light flickers as if it disapproves, but you lock the door behind you anyway. They say this neighborhood was once a railway town, bustling with train whistles and coal smoke. Now it's just trimmed hedges, nosy curtains, and a gas station that never fixes its flickering sign. Funny how history fades, but the smell of diesel never does. Your feet pad against the cold sidewalk, and you pass Mrs. Kerrigan's yard. She still decorates her fence with plastic flamingos, each one missing an eye. Local kids swear she swaps them every month to hide her sins. Or maybe she just enjoys being the only scandal on the block. Suburbia gets hungry for gossip, after all. A rustle breaks your thoughts. Just a squirrel, you tell yourself. You tug your hoodie tighter, noticing the thin moon overhead, a grim little sliver that does nothing to light your path. Somewhere, an old wind chime sighs. You wonder who else is awake at this hour, besides you, the squirrels, and the ghosts of trains that don't run anymore. 100 years ago, the railway yard 2 blocks from here was the site of a fiery strike. Miners and conductors clashed with strikebreakers until lanterns shattered, and 3 men were never seen again. Some folks say you can still hear boots on the tracks if you stand alone after midnight. Lucky you, your route tonight loops right past it. You chuckle under your breath. It's a harmless story to keep kids indoors. Or maybe it was born because adults are just big kids, hungry for rules, excuses, and monsters to blame when the night feels too big. Your phone vibrates. Mom, of course. Where are you? You ignore it. She still thinks you're 10 years old and fragile. If only she knew how often you roam alone under the witching hour. Maybe you'd be grounded forever. Maybe she'd start walking with you. Now there's a thought. Your mother and her floral robe, power walking past the ghost yard. That mental image alone is worth a smirk. As you reach the corner of Galloway and Main, a cat darts out, nearly tripping you. You mutter a curse. The cat watches you like it owns the block, tail flicking. A tiny guard posted at the edge of a hidden kingdom. Behind it, the old railway gate looms. Rust eats away at its hinges, and ivy curls around a weathered keep out sign. You hesitate. You've never gone through there alone. But tonight the path calls. Maybe you're braver than you think. Or maybe sleeplessness has made you stupid. Either way, you duck under the sign, heart drumming a soft alarm against your ribs. Just ahead, moonlight spills over the abandoned tracks, turning gravel to silver dust. It feels like stepping onto the spine of something ancient. You pause, inhale the damp, metallic air, and almost laugh at your own courage. Almost. You don't notice the silhouette at the far end, not yet, but you will. Your foot nudges a loose rail spike, and the tiny clink echoes louder than your thoughts. The shadows thicken the deeper you wander along the forgotten tracks. You tell yourself you're just here for the thrill, a stupid dare you made with yourself to prove you're not afraid of some rusty history lesson after dark. Above you, the clouds drift, covering the moon until you're walking under a velvet lid. It's so quiet, you swear you can hear your own blood pushing through your veins. If you stop now, the silence will swallow you. So you don't stop, not yet. Decades ago, this yard was the last stop for immigrant workers riding west. They slept in boxcars, earned pennies, and some slipped away into the night, nameless forever. It's a neat historical fact you remember from a boring high school field trip. Funny how a place can feel so ordinary at noon, but turn monstrous at midnight. A sharp wind tickles your ear. You turn, expecting a branch, a raccoon, anything. Nothing. Just your breath, puffing little ghosts into the cold. You check your phone, no signal. You laugh at yourself, a hushed, shaky giggle that escapes before you can trap it. There's an old service shed ahead. Its tin roof sags like a drunk's hat, and weeds guard the door. You shouldn't peek inside. You know that. But here you are, pressing your palm against the rust-flaked wood, imagining what secrets it hides. Maybe nothing more than rotting tools, or maybe something left behind by people who never planned to come back. Your hand shakes as you push. The door creaks, naturally. You half expect a raccoon to hiss and leap at your face. Instead, darkness greets you, like an old friend. You use your phone flashlight. It flickers, fighting the gloom, and reveals a clutter of dusty barrels and a row of ancient nails hammered right into the wall. And there, someone's name carved beneath them, Ellis 1931. You run your finger over the letters, tracing a ghost you never knew. Outside, the wind hums through the broken roof. You stand there, foolishly hoping the walls will whisper back, tell you why Ellis needed to scratch his name here. Did he vanish too, or was he just lonely? Your gut twists. Enough spooky shed nonsense. You back out, your sneakers crunching gravel as you return to the tracks. That's when you see it. Movement. A figure, barely lit by the fractured moonlight, standing exactly where the rails vanish into the tree line. You freeze. The figure doesn't wave, doesn't run, doesn't shout. It just watches. Your throat tightens, air stuck in your lungs like an apology. Your brain races through excuses. Maybe a hiker, a drunk, a prankster in a cheap horror mask. A loud crack. A branch snaps behind you. You spin. Nothing but shadows. When you look back at the tracks, the figure is gone. You whisper a curse you shouldn't repeat in front of your mom, then bolt forward, shoes slapping the rails, heart ramming your ribs like it wants out. You run until your lungs are knives, then collapse on a splintered bench near the old freight station, now just bricks and wind. Your mind insists it was a trick of light, or your own reflection, or fatigue painting monsters where there are none. But the fact remains, you're alone here, or maybe you aren't. A stray memory surfaces. Your grandmother once said, never walk the tracks after midnight. Tracks remember everything they've carried, including the dead. Back then, you rolled your eyes. Now you wish you'd listened. A soft laugh escapes your lips, half madness, half relief. You promise yourself you'll walk home now. No more daring the ghosts, No more abandoned sheds. You rise, knees trembling, and take a single step toward the safety of the streetlights, unaware that you'll never reach them. You press your palm to your chest, trying to steady that reckless drumbeat under your ribs. The old freight station behind you groans in the wind, loose shingles flapping like restless wings. You can't help but grin at the absurdity. You, all tough and brave an hour ago, now whispering prayers you don't believe in. You pick up your pace, stepping over weeds that claw at your ankles. The glow of the nearest streetlight flickers in the distance, your tiny lighthouse after this foolish adventure. One more block, maybe two, you'll be back on the sidewalk where nosy curtains and fake flamingos feel like old friends compared to this haunted backyard. Halfway there, you notice the air smells wrong, burnt, almost metallic. A sour memory drips through your mind. The railway strike, lantern oil, angry men swinging tools like weapons. Maybe the yard never forgot the violence it soaked up. History has a nasty habit of breathing on your neck when you least expect it. You mumble to yourself, "Great, you're hallucinating smells now. Next step, full ghost train." And you actually giggle at that, your second laugh tonight nervous and tinny. If a cop saw you now, muttering about phantom locomotives, you'd earn a free ride home or maybe a polite psych evaluation. At your feet, something glints. You crouch down and brush aside gravel, a pocket watch, half buried and cracked along its silver belly. The hands are stuck at 12:03. You flip it over, an engraving neat but scratched by time, forever waiting. You pocket it, because why not? A creepy old watch is less terrifying than the dark pressing around you. Maybe it's an antique worth $20 on eBay, or maybe it's a cursed trinket that'll rattle on your dresser for eternity. One more weird thing to chuckle about if you make it home tonight. You stand, dusting your jeans, and spot fresh footprints near the tracks. Definitely not yours. Boots, not sneakers. Deep, crisp, wandering back toward the shed you so smartly explored earlier. You shake your head, whispering to nobody, "Nope, not my problem, not tonight." It's a lie, of course, because humans are nosy, and you're no exception. You reach the edge of the clearing when a rustling behind you halts your breath. You twist, flashlight cutting through saplings. There, movement again, no clear face, just the suggestion of someone slipping between trees, just out of reach. You call out. Your voice cracks, brave in your head, pathetic in the open air. "Hey, you need help? Hello?" No answer. A debate brews in your chest. Bolt for home or poke the monster. You chew your lip. Curiosity is poison. It's also the only thing stronger than fear. You step forward, past the last broken fence post, back toward the shed. You tell yourself it's smart. Better to confront a prankster than let them follow you home. That's your excuse. It's thin, but it keeps your legs moving. Near the shed door, you pause. The wind hushes like it's holding its breath just for you. You press your ear to the wood. Nothing. Then softly, you push it open again. Inside, the same barrels, the same nails, the same chill. But this time, a pair of eyes catch your light, reflective, low to the ground. A raccoon, number 2, still. You step closer, light trembling in your grip. The eyes vanish. Something scrapes metal, then silence. You stand frozen, heart a rabbit pounding against a cage. Behind you, footsteps crunch the gravel, slow, measured. You turn so fast your shoulder knocks a barrel off balance. It rolls, slams the wall, echoes your panic. But there's no one there. You flick your light around. Rafters, floor, doorway, empty. Yet deep inside, you know you're not alone. And for the first time tonight, your fear feels real, alive and watching. Somewhere outside, a train horn blows, a ghostly wail from a railway that's been dead for decades. You run. You burst through the shed door like you're being chased, because maybe you are. Your sneakers slap the dirt path, each step a frantic confession that bravery is for people who don't feel this raw, animal terror tearing at their ribs. The abandoned tracks stretch ahead like an accusation. Every bush, every twisted tree root seems to reach for your ankles. You're halfway to the streetlight when you force yourself to stop. You bend, palms on your knees, sucking the night air so hard your throat burns. Somewhere behind you, the shed door creaks again. You don't look back. If there's a prankster back there, let them enjoy your panic. You'll be home soon, safe, scolded by your mom, wrapped in a blanket burrito that no ghost or prowler can peel open. You straighten up and spit the taste of copper from your mouth and notice your phone blinking. Some bars have magically returned. You unlock it with shaking fingers, tapping out a message to your mom. Be home soon. Love you. It feels childish, but also sacred, like a final spell against the creeping dread nipping your heels. You step off the railway path and onto cracked pavement. Civilization. Trash cans, porch lights, the distant hum of a refrigerator truck. You whisper a thank you to nobody, and that makes you laugh. A soft, relieved bubble that almost breaks the tension. Almost. Then you hear it. Footsteps. Not yours, not in the dirt, but behind you, steady, deliberate. You spin, flashlight slicing through the darkness like a cheap knife. Nobody. Just the wind tugging at the fence posts. You stand there, one foot on cracked asphalt, the other still on gravel. Half safe, half stupid. The folklore nerd in you can't help but chew on an old local legend. The Shadow Walker, an echo of the railway workers who died unpaid, cursed to follow anyone who dares tread their path alone at night. It's nonsense. You know that. Still, your gut crawls when you remember how many people have vanished here since the line shut down. Not thousands, not even dozens, but enough to breed whispers, enough for your grandmother to caution you. Old folks always know which stories are safe to laugh at and which ones want to be believed. You make a decision, turn left instead of right. Take the long route home, circle the block, stay under streetlights where your neighbor's curtains twitch at the sound of trouble. You tell yourself it's strategic, but really, you're just terrified of walking past that clearing again. You pass the corner gas station, closed, neon sign humming out its lonely red glow. You pause at the window, catching your reflections in the glass. You look like hell, hair stuck to your forehead, eyes too wide, a smirk caught halfway to a scream. You can't help it. One more nervous joke slips out. Yikes. Who's stalking who here, huh? Your reflection doesn't laugh, naturally. A soft shuffle behind you. You pivot. Nobody. Just a breeze tipping a plastic cup across the sidewalk. You grip your phone tighter, thumb hovering over 911. It's silly. There's no crime yet. But tonight, the idea of caution feels holy. And because life loves irony, that's when you see her. A girl, barely visible under the streetlight 2 blocks ahead. Long coat, hair hanging loose, feet bare on the cold cement. She doesn't move, doesn't wave, doesn't seem to breathe. She's just there, watching you. Your stomach sinks like a stone tossed into a dark well. This isn't a prank. This isn't a ghost story you can mock. This is real. And somehow, you know, she's why your feet dragged you here tonight. A debate sparks in your chest. Run home, cross the street, walk up to her, and ruin the last thread of sanity you've clung to since the shed. You stand frozen, eyes locked on hers, feeling the railway tracks behind you, like a wound that hasn't healed. Then softly, she lifts a hand, just once, and points back toward the clearing you fled. You shake your head, mouthing, "No way." She doesn't flinch. She just points again. Then she's gone. One blink. Empty sidewalk. No girl. Just the wind. Just your pulse. Hammering questions you don't want answered. Above you, clouds peel back to reveal the moon, fat and indifferent. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. A new message from an unknown number. Go back. Your breath fogs the air as you stand frozen under that flickering streetlight, phone still buzzing softly in your hand. Go back. 2 words. Simple, stupid, impossible. You want to hurl the phone into the gutter, pretend none of this is real. But the night doesn't care about your fear. The street holds its breath, waiting for you to make the next move. You glance down the block, toward your house. So close. Just a few more minutes, and you could be inside, behind locked doors, under Mom's ridiculous crocheted blanket. Warm, boring, safe. But your legs betray you. They pivot you the wrong way. Back toward the railway path. Back toward the clearing where the shed stands like a rotten tooth in the gums of your sleepy town. You mutter curses under your breath. Spicy, creative, definitely not fit for Grandma's ears. Your sneakers tap a nervous rhythm on the cracked sidewalk. You half expect your reflection to appear in every dark window you pass, wagging a finger, mocking this terrible idea. You wonder if you've lost your mind. Maybe you have. Insomnia, local lore, a dash of leftover high school angst. It's a cocktail strong enough to make anyone see ghosts. You cross the gas station lot again. This time you see it, spray painted behind the dumpsters. They all come back. You stop, run your finger over the fresh black letters. You want it to be a prank, a random tag. But deep down, you feel like it's an invitation. 1 block more and the pavement crumbles back into gravel. The railway gate yawns before you, the sign still insisting you keep out. You laugh dryly. Too late, buddy. The wind answers, carrying a faint sound, like metal scraping metal far ahead. You duck under the sign, flashlight back in your fist, heart crawling up your throat. Under your feet, the tracks groan softly, a creak that could be in your bones for all you know. Your phone pings again. Another message. You don't dare look. Not now. Somewhere up the line, you catch it. A flicker of movement near the shed. Not the girl, not the raccoon. Taller, bulkier, a shape pacing slowly beside the door you left ajar. Your mind flips through explanations like cheap index cards. Homeless man, junkie, a cop investigating trespassers. all plausible, all preferable to what you actually feel clawing up your spine, a certainty that whoever it is has been waiting just for you. You crouch behind a leaning stack of rotted railway ties, trying to breathe through your nose, steady and silent. You taste rust on your tongue. You think about that history teacher who once bored your class with stories about railway drifters, men who'd vanish for weeks, reappear with new names, new debts, new sins. Some never reappeared at all. A wild thought slices your brain. Maybe some debts never get paid. Maybe the tracks remember every unpaid fare. A bottle rattles nearby, kicked by a boot. Heavy steps crunch gravel. You risk a peek. He's there. A man, if you can call it that. Too broad at the shoulders, clothes too old, hanging like drapes over a scarecrow. His head tilts, yet sniffing the air like he already knows where you are. And in his right hand, swinging casually, a crowbar slick with something too dark to see clearly. You choke back a gasp, press your fist to your lips. He stops, turns his head, one eye catching your flashlight beam for a fraction of a heartbeat. Then a smile splits his beard, not wide, but enough. He raises the crowbar and taps it twice on the shed wall. Metal on wood. The sound echoes up the tracks, rattles your ribs. A signal, maybe. Or just a cruel joke for you alone. You want to bolt. Every cell in your body begs for it. But your knees lock. Instead, your mind flings you a fact to cling to. During the 1931 strike, they found a foreman buried in these woods, skull cracked by the same tool meant to build a better future, a crowbar. Fun trivia at noon, a death omen at midnight. Your phone buzzes violently in your pocket. The man's head snaps your way. No more hiding. You stand, muscles quivering, throat dry as dust. He watches you, grinning like he knows your secrets. In a voice rough as gravel, he rasps, "Been waiting." You don't wait to hear more. You run. Your sneakers pound the gravel so hard, you feel every jagged stone through the soles. You don't look back. You don't need to. You can hear him behind you, boots grinding grit, the crowbar dragging once before he hoists it with a grunt. You think you hear a laugh, or maybe it's the wind shredding through the brittle trees. Either way, your legs answer faster than your brain. Run, run, run. You veer off the tracks, cutting through the brush, twigs whipping your shins raw. The moon flickers between tree limbs, a strobe that makes the forest jerk and lurch like an old film reel. Once, you trip over a root, landing hard on your palms. The watch in your pocket jabs your hip, the cracked glass biting through denim. You hiss, push up, stagger forward, because stopping means metal cracking bone, and you've read enough murder mysteries to know how that chapter ends. Somewhere above the roar of your pulse, you remember a ridiculous piece of town trivia. When the railway company abandoned this yard in the 50s, they buried leftover ties in shallow pits. They said it was cheaper than hauling them away. Local kids turned them into hiding spots for stolen beer and secret kisses. You pray they can hide you now. Ahead, a moss-choked pit yawns open. You leap down without grace, landing on rotted wood and damp leaves. It swallows your noise, muffling your gasps. You hunch low, hugging your knees, listening, praying your breath doesn't whistle loud enough to sell you out. Up top, boots crunch near the edge. A silhouette blocks out the moon, broad shoulders, cocked head, sniffing again like a feral dog sniffing out dinner. He drags the crowbar along the pit's rim. Sparks flick off stone. He hums a tune, off key and wrong, like a lullaby for something older than bedtime. Your phone vibrates, muffled against your thigh. You curse silently. You fish it out, thumb trembling, screen harsh in the dark. Another message from that same unknown number. Don't move. Too late for advice. Above, his humming stops. Silence punches the air flat. You hold your breath so long your chest feels like bursting. You swear you hear his smile before you see his boots crunch away. Farther, farther, gone. You wait. 5 seconds. 10. A full minute measured by the tremor of your pulse. When your legs stop quaking enough to carry you, you crawl from the pit, fingers sinking into the cold moss for balance. Every bush crackle snaps your nerves raw, but you don't see him. Just wind, just night. You tap your phone's map, signal flickers, then bars disappear. Typical. You debate calling 911 anyway, but what will you say? Hi, operator. I'm being hunted by maybe a ghost lumberjack with a crowbar and an attitude. Yeah, good luck with that. You stagger back to the tracks. They stretch endless now, moon-silvered and cruel. A fresh thought needles you. Maybe you're not running from him anymore. Maybe you're being led to something. The girl's ghost, the shed's secret, the watch ticking in your pocket, stuck at 12:03 like it's mocking the whole night. You rub your forehead, laughter bubbling up because panic and hysteria make perfect drinking buddies. You say out loud, next time, I'm getting insomnia meds. The forest swallows your joke whole. You pick a direction, away from the pit, away from the freight station. Feet blistered, breath ragged, heart wired tight as a snare drum. You keep your flashlight pointed low, catching bits of broken rail, scattered coal lumps from a century ago. Each crunch under your soul is another heartbeat closer to home, maybe. A glimmer on the track ahead stops you cold. Not a person, not an animal, a shoe, small, worn pink canvas, child-sized. Next to it, another pocket watch, identical to yours, same engraving, forever waiting. Your hands shake as you kneel, pick it up. This one's frozen at 12:04. Behind you, something breathes. You kneel there, frozen. One watch in your pocket, another trembling in your hand, the abandoned shoe like a punctuation mark on a story you never meant to read. Your lungs refuse to cooperate. Every inhale feels borrowed. Somewhere behind you, the brush rustles, a soft, deliberate hush like fabric brushing stone. You force yourself to stand, pocketing the second watch even though every sensible cell in your body screams to drop it and run, forget. But that word, forever waiting, keeps burning behind your eyes. 2 watches, 2 times, 2 truths. You spin around, nothing but shadows, stretching into deeper shadows. The wind has given up pretending to be your friend. It carries a sickly sweetness now, a whisper of rust and old oil, a century's worth of secrets pressed into every splinter of these tracks. Your flashlight flickers, just once, just enough to remind you batteries don't care if you're in a horror show. You slap it against your palm, it sputters, then steadies. You exhale a brittle laugh. Stay with me, you cheap plastic liar. You retrace your steps, eyes darting, ears straining for that crowbar drag, that off-key humming. But it's not there. Only your heartbeat and the faraway sigh of a semi on the highway. A modern ghost reminding you civilization is so close, so impossibly far. At the clearing's edge, you spot it, a scatter of old metal plates, half buried in moss. You kneel, brush the green away. Numbers, names, like crude grave markers. Some faded beyond reading, others fresh enough to catch moonlight. You read them aloud in a whisper: Ellis, Crane, May, Little Joe. Your tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth. Little Joe, a local urban legend about a kid who vanished playing on the tracks one summer. They never found his body, just a single shoe tossed in the creek. A chill worms up your spine. You look at the pink canvas shoe by your feet. You step back fast, nearly dropping the flashlight. Your phone buzzes again. Another message. Beneath. One word, heavy as iron. You swing the light toward the nearest plate. Rusty, sunk deep in dirt. Instinct shoves you forward on your knees, scraping them raw as you claw at the soil. Your breath fogs the cold air, your fingers numb, but you dig until your nails bend. A thud, a hollow thunk just below the surface. You scrape more. A lid, wood, rotted in patches, but still holding shape. It was a box, a chest, or a makeshift coffin. Your stomach flips, a protest you gag down. You wedge fingers under the lid, pry it up an inch, just enough to see inside. Hair, blonde, tangled, a pale shoulder bare. You slam the lid shut so hard your teeth clack. You stumble back, landing on your elbows in the mud. For a second, the forest tilts. You choke on a sob that tears your throat raw. Your rational brain tries to speak. Call the cops, call your mom, get out now. But the primal part of you, the part that hears old ghost stories whispered by grandmothers, knows this grave is old, but it's not empty by accident. Someone keeps filling it. Your eyes dart to the path. In the moonlight, a figure stands. Bare feet, long coat, hair like a shadow draped over her shoulders. The girl. She lifts her arm, points again, deeper into the woods, away from the tracks, toward the black tree line where your flashlight refuses to shine. Her lips move, no sound, but you know what she's saying. One more. Your knees quake as you push up, breath rasping. If you turn back, you'll carry this forever. If you go forward, you might end up under another plate. Either way, tonight is not done with you. You step off the tracks, leaving the railway behind, feet crunching old leaves, watches ticking a lie in your pocket. The forest swallows you whole. The forest feels older than the town it hugs, older than the railway, older than your family's whispered cautionary tales. Each step into the tree line peels away the thin safety of civilization you clung to back by the tracks. Your flashlight's beam quivers across trunks thick with moss and black scabs of lichen. Here, no porch lights wink at you, no distant semis sigh on the highway. Just you, your stolen breath, and the soft thrum of watches lying to your pocket with their forever promise of 12:03 and 12:04. You stop to listen. Nothing, which is somehow worse than the footsteps, the crowbar scrape, or the ghost girl's silent finger. Nothing means the forest owns your heartbeat now. You whisper a dumb joke just to prove your voice still works. 5 stars for tonight's guided tour, very immersive. Terrible Yelp review if I die. The joke dissolves in the mist, threading between the trees. No one laughs, except maybe the shadows. Ahead, the trees thin around a pit, more deliberate this time. A circle, ringed with stones blackened by age and weather. In the center, an iron grate half buried in roots. You flick your flashlight down through the bars, earth, moist and restless, as if someone turned it with a spade only hours ago. You crouch, fingers brushing the metal. It rattles, a whisper of chains hidden beneath rotting leaves. Something's down there, or someone. Your throat tightens with a memory you didn't earn. A strikebreaker cornered by angry men, dumped here, bones folded neat in mud. Or a missing child the town forgot, but the tracks never did. A new message buzzes your phone against your thigh. Your fingers tremble so hard you almost drop it. DIG, one word, a command, or a dare. You look around, half expecting Crowbar Man to materialize behind you, grin stitched wide under the dripping boughs. But the clearing is empty, except for the hush of the wind, the hum of your own panic. You find a broken branch, thick enough to claw at the edge of the grate. It groans, shifts. Your knees grind into cold soil as you dig with your free hand, flicking wet earth aside in ragged handfuls. Every clump smells like iron and forgotten sins. After minutes that shred your knuckles raw, you hit something firm. Not wood, not stone, fabric. You freeze, like a child caught reading a diary that wasn't meant for living eyes. You glance at the trees, still alone, or alone enough. Your fingers tremble as you brush more dirt away. A coat sleeve emerges, wool, heavy with rot, and beneath it, a wrist, small, bone white in your flashlight's shiver. You gag, slap a muddy palm over your mouth. Logic scrambles for footing. Call the sheriff, don't touch it, preserve the scene. But another voice, older, raw with some primal debt, whispers, don't leave them here. You dig more, enough to see a shoulder, then the sweep of a hollowed face, hair matted to the skull like stringy weeds. One eye socket gapes empty. The other still holds a glass eye, cloudy but staring at your sin. A sob shakes your ribs. You press your forehead to the cold grate. You whisper nonsense apologies to the bones, to the ghosts, to the tracks. Behind you, leaves crunch, the soft, deliberate hush of someone stepping into your clearing. You turn too fast, the world swimming, light flaring on a tall shape at the tree line. He's back. Crowbar at his side, head cocked, grin painted wide enough to split skin. In the moon's mercy, you see his eyes, too bright, too calm. You dig up what's not yours. He rasps, voice molasses slow. You don't answer. You can't. Your throat is a cage of sand. He steps closer, crowbar swinging lazy as a grandfather clock pendulum. You stay awake. You walk alone. You find my debts. Closer. You want the truth? Closer. You stand, hands empty, heart full of thunder. Then pay for it. You run. You tear through the clearing, lunging over roots that claw at your ankles like desperate fingers trying to keep you in the forest forever. Behind you, the man's steps don't race. They lumber. He doesn't have to run. He knows every path you could take. Every wrong turn is his grin waiting at the end. Branches slap your face, snag your hair, You barely feel it. The watches in your pocket knock against your thigh with every pounding step, forever waiting. They chant in rhythm with your pulse. Some broken, sick part of your brain wonders if the time has moved. You refuse to check. You crash back through the tree line toward the tracks, your mind clinging to the only thin hope left. The railway is a straight line. It might lead you back to people, to headlights, to a mother's warm, annoyed hug. The gravel cuts your palms when you fall hard, breath punching out of you in a hot cloud. You scramble up, knees screaming. Ahead, the abandoned freight station flickers between trees, bricks, broken windows, the promise of walls between you and him. Inside, it's a grave of echoes. Your footsteps scatter mice. A blackbird trapped in the rafters beats its wings like a frantic drum. You suck air in ragged gulps, slide behind an old ticket counter. You clutch your flashlight to your chest, click it off, better dark than a target. Your phone buzzes in the tomb-quiet ruin. The sound jolts through your spine. You fumble it open. One final message. Look back. Your fingers twitch, wanting to smash the screen, but you obey. You lean out just enough to see the doorway. He's there. Crowbar, coat, that grin. He steps inside, boots tapping the cracked tile like he owns every bone hidden in these walls. Maybe he does. Old tracks run deep, he croons, deeper than coffins, deeper than sleep. Oh. You clamp a hand over your mouth, breath scraping your palm. In the broken moonlight filtering through the roof, his eyes find yours. The grin widens. He doesn't charge. He waits, daring you to bolt, daring you to play prey. A thought flares. Your grandmother's voice, a nursery rhyme she sang when you couldn't sleep. Tracks remember what roads forget. She always smiled sadly when she said it, like she knew you'd test that truth one day. You grip your flashlight tight, force your legs to stand. No more running, no more debt. The watches weigh down your pocket like coins for a ferryman. You step into the open. His grin falters, just a flicker. Surprise tastes like courage on your tongue. You lift the flashlight high, aim at his eyes, flick it on. The beam nails him dead center. He snarls, recoils, crowbar scraping the floor in a metal wail. You sprint, past him, past the ticket booth, out the broken door into the moon's cold arms. The tracks catch you again, under your feet, whispering old names. Your lungs burn, your heart rages, but your house glows ahead, warm and real. Porch light on. A mother at the window, phone pressed to her ear. Your shoes hit the porch steps. The door flings wide. She catches you in a hug so tight it hurts. Behind you, the night closes its mouth. The railway sighs. It forgets you. This time. Shh. It's over now. You made it home. Let the leftover tremor in your chest melt into the warmth of your bed. Feel your breath, slower now, uncoiling like soft ribbon through your throat and into the quiet room. Imagine your heartbeat drumming less like thunder, more like a gentle wave, rolling out all that fear, all that midnight dread. The railway fades behind your eyelids, rusty rails softened by the fog of dream. The faces you met out there slip away like mist, unraveling at the seams until only your own safe breath remains. Let your shoulders sink deeper into the mattress. Feel the pillow cradle your head, Cool at first, then blooming with the warmth of your own quiet survival. There is no crowbar here, no watches ticking secrets, only the hush of tonight, settling like snow on your tired thoughts. Listen, maybe there's a fan humming nearby. Let it be the only train that runs tonight, a steady track that loops you gently toward sleep. If your mind wants to replay the chase, forgive it. Whisper to it that the tracks remember the stories, so you don't have to carry them anymore. Exhale, again, once more, longer. You are safe. You are home. Tomorrow the rails will still be there, rusted, patient. But tonight they wait outside your door, kept at bay by 4 sturdy walls and the slow drift of dreams. Maybe someday we'll know the truth, but for now, sleep well.